Welcome back, everybody, to episode 156 of the Lookout Podcast. I'm, of course, Meelz. I am here with LJ himself. LJ, we're back on the lookout.
Welcome. Yeah, it was a fun summer.
It was a fun summer. We got some time off. We got some time to relax. We got some time to take the Nimbus back all the way up. We're not alone. Subsly, Dubsly. Shout out to D and Jay. They have all DJ. There you go. JD. There you go. Shout out to them. They are also back with Subsly Dubsly season 3, and they are getting it popping. I've seen a lot of great feedback for it, a lot of great people support. I like seeing other people support. I like being. The thing about Subsly Dubsly is they're part of us, and I like seeing people support them. I think by general, just seeing people support other people in their creative ventures warms my icy cold dark heart. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever. I hate that you act so cold. You're literally the nicest person.
No, I know. I'm kidding. I don't have an icy cold dark.
But nah, I agree, man. It's really cool. I think that just, I think that when it comes to like content creation and creating things and putting it out in this world, and I feel that like now is so much easier to like push stuff like that. But I don't know, I think it's cool when just, man, like you said, just seeing people support each other and seeing people just like give each other love and be excited for their friends and doing things like that. Not everybody's like doing this to have some type of larger end goal. Like a lot of people are just like, fuck it, like I just really like doing this, and this is what's fun to me, and this is how I like to enjoy my time, and this is what I do with it. And it's just cool, man, when people just put their art out into the world and just have other people gravitate to it, and other like-minded people gravitate towards it and show them love and support. So I'm in the same boat as you in terms of that.
The thing about doing anything anime related content creation, especially anime podcasting, which is like, it's not very, it's niche upon niche upon niche upon niche. So if you manage to do it for an extended period of time, it's kudos to you. I legitimately feel like out of all the black anime podcasts, this is probably, I kind of feel like this is one of the longer running ones, especially like consistency. We take breaks, but we're not gone forever. The majority of the year, we're still uploading. The majority of the year, we're still talking. We're having these great conversations. We've had a bevy of great guests, and going to have some great guests coming up. But we do this very, very well. And if no one's going to give props to us, I'm going to give props to ourselves, because we have been in here. We're approaching, I actually don't know the year anniversary. I want to say we're approaching year 6. We'll look out. 2018. Yes, because I know it's year 6 because it debuted around the end of the Tournament of Power, which ended in 2018. So we're approaching year 6 about doing this. We're having a lot of fun doing it. We're still having a lot of fun. Anime is more popular than ever. Some could say it's even more popular than it was when we started. So we've got a lot of great things going on and a lot of great people to see. And we've got some new artwork too. If you have not noticed, by the time this goes up, it should have changed. Silver pen once again with the pen. It's magic. We have the volume 2 of our cover. It looks, I'm going to send it to you again, Jamal, just so you can remember. I don't know if you remember what it looks like, but
I do.
That
was not a confident do, but
that was not a confident do, but that's okay, because I'm gonna send it to you again, like just so you can see, like, because we've had the summer one for so long, and yeah, it's just, the shit is amazing. So shout out to Silver Pen once again for the amazing artwork. I look to hopefully have him on the podcast one day, but he is super, like, the level of introvert, he might be like stage 5 introvert, and that's not a bad thing. That's just like, he doesn't come on public things and speak to people publicly about his art. But I really want him on because I think he's talented, and I think he's a good person, and I think he's worked with us so much that he's like part of our extended family. So
definitely, he's definitely a part of he's part of the Lookout family, man.
Absolutely.
Like a cousin.
Yeah. So I'm literally trying to find it and I can't find it anymore because it's been so long. We've had this new artwork before the Summer Economy House artwork. It's been so long. But it exists, and yeah, you'll be able to see it, and hopefully there's a lot of great feedback about it. Um, with that said, this episode is going to be us shooting the shit. It is not. We don't have any particular topic in mind. I mean, I do have a topic in mind that I think we can talk about towards the end because it does lean in a little bit of manga spoilers. Because the manga world has been moving and grooving ever since we went off end of August. A bunch of stuff happened in September. We're in October now, so we can kind of like talk a little bit about that. But we got to talk about the first big news. Normally, in any other circumstance, would require an emergency podcast. However, I didn't feel the need with this one because I'm not fully sure how I feel about it yet. But with that said, we have the official news as of also New York City Comic Con. I would like you guys to approve our press. I think we've been doing this for quite a number of years, and I think the amount of anime representation at that thing, it requires some great press. I'm pretty sure all the anime podcasts get turned down, but I'm gonna have to talk to someone over there. I gotta talk to someone over there because it's been like 3 years in a row they've turned us down, and I'm just like, sure. But nonetheless, we are here officially. New Dragon Ball series, Dragon Ball Daima. It is not super. Definitely not super. Why the long? Why the huh? It's created by series creator Akira Toriyama, so he has a large capacity. He has it says deeply involved beyond his usual capacity in this anime, and it's going to be a web anime. It's going to live on the internet. Then I'm sure at some point it'll live on television. But Dragon Ball Daima new series. This is kind of like groundbreaking as Super was. And its announcement. First thoughts.
Toriyama is creatively bankrupt right now.
Why did you say that?
The simple fact that he is re-rocking the premise of GT.
No one likes GT.
No one likes GT, so it's like,
and he wasn't that involved in GT.
Yeah, now it's gonna be a involved GT. That's all this is. This is gonna be GT if Toriyama was involved. So instead of Goku becoming kids, everybody's kids now.
Listen, for the past 20 years, people have shit on GT of whether it's canon, not canon, and what the argument whether it's canon or not canon is inconsequential because the general consensus is GT sucks. It was not involved, it was not written largely by the creator. It was written largely to continue the series because the series was making so much money in the 90s, and they did not want to like let their foot off the gas at anything. Dragon Ball Daima, and then we got Super, which mixed reactions in the beginning, but I think all's well that kind of ends well with the story that's kind of going on and continuing to go on in the manga. But Daima's new. It feels
like a cash grab more than anything.
I feel like, you know why I don't say it's a cash grab? Because I do feel like there's a demand for Dragon Ball.
Yeah, there's always but no. It's not a demand for Dragon Ball. It's a demand for Dragon Ball Super to come back. Right. Because anytime some type of Dragon Ball related content that comes out that isn't Super is always mixed or like met with mixed reviews. You get people
like Super Dragon Ball Heroes,
huh? Yes,
like Super Dragon Ball Heroes.
Yes, exactly like that. And no, it's crazy that got mixed with that got met with mixed reviews and like mixed emotions, and it's really nothing but like fan service and fan writing.
Yeah, to be honest, those who rock with it. Those who don't rock with it haven't watched it in years, so I'm not too concerned with Super Dragon Ball Heroes at all.
Yeah, but in general though, all people are wanting is Super. They're just like, bring Super back. That's all we want. I even think that seeing the next arc animated and even some of the newer stuff, like it would add some type of pizzazz to the story. I think that Dragon Ball Super just works so much better than animated than in the manga.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like yes, people are wanting Dragon Ball, but they're wanting a specific thing, and I think that we keep getting these things where it's like, bro, just give us what we want. Like, yeah, cool, you lucked up in the Dragon Ball movie, the newest one. It happened to work.
Lucked up.
I lucked up for sure because I was so low on it.
What? What do you mean? But
I
this
was
is so.
what was I not low on it when it was first
No,
released?
of course. But I feel like this further proves the point. Like you're low on this when it was you just seen this, but as you go on, it's actually the movie was actually good. Like the
The
movie
movie
wasn't
was
bad.
actually good, but I don't.
Yeah,
But is lightning gonna strike twice?
I think it will strike twice. I think with this current creative climate, I think so. From my vantage point with this, yes, it's not what I want, but it's also I can't say it's also I want super, but I can't say this is not something that I could use. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Dragon Ball Daima, while the concept looks, it definitely can, it's polarizing in terms of turning everyone into kids and things like that. Um, I actually don't know what's going on or what's involved with this or like how does this thing actually go. So I don't want to give it too much negative praise. We see the general premise. Of course, they turn into kids. It's GT thing. Everyone turns into kids at this point. But and of course the mandatory police sirens that are
There
rolling
we
down the
go. The
street.
show's now really started.
Yeah, there we are. But I'm not completely against this. I don't know because I haven't seen any. I feel like I trust him enough with this and knowing what people actually genuinely like. Um, And one, this looks way better than Super looked when it came out. I'll say that. Like it looks
Oh,
like
it
they
looks
put.
great
It
visually.
looks
I'm
like they.
never going to visually. Dragon Ball would never lack.
No, it has before. The beginning episodes of Super Rare is like doodles and shit. Like it's looked terrible before. I think this will be consistently across the board look good.
I guess
Um
I haven't watched the early days of Super in so long.
Super like even when they thing the movies and Purple Vegeta and even some of it wasn't really until the Tournament of Power where the animation got consistent across the board. Like it was pretty spotty through a lot of it. Um but this looks good and
Damn, I probably should go back and watch Super because in my head, memory wise, like I remember it. Like to me, I'm like, dang, did I really ever have an issue with the animation? But
I'll show you a picture of it and you'll be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that."
I think there's a no, yeah, there are a couple spots during Goku Black.
Yeah. And it
Okay,
just and
yeah, you're jogging my memory now.
yeah, it gets pretty bad, but um I want to see what this is about. I want to see the story. I want to see how it, thing with the story. I've known from doing this podcast for a number of years and seeing a lot of like the first trailers for things like the first trailer for Super Broly. And we were like, what the hell is this? Like, what are we going to do with this? Who is this thing? And then seeing the first trailer for Dragon Ball Super, what was the hero? Um, and saying like, not really sure of this. Like 3D, ew, this looks kind of gross, and all of it kind of turning out better than it did before. I think we should all taper our expectations, wait and see what happens, and kind of see where the direction is with this because we both, you and I, we like Dragon Ball, yes,
Yes, very much.
and we like everything. I would say you're not fully down on the current Dragon Ball product in terms of the things that have been recently released. Um, Latest super arcs, latest movies, latest things. Like you haven't necessarily been down on it all the
I
way.
haven't. I mean, I wouldn't say I haven't been down, but also too, my expectations aren't high.
Right. Oh, okay.
So
Well,
for where my
don't
don't
raise them.
ruin the don't ruin the
Don't raise them
moment.
for this one. Yeah, yeah. No, don't raise them too high for this
Yeah,
one.
I'm not going to. And like I think that's the thing with Dragon Ball is that I have to go in with a low expectation, and I'll go in with a low expectation, and it's just like, okay, cool. I'm able to take what it gives.
Sure. I like
When
what
I'm
I
going in
see.
there, I'm just like, okay, cool.
I like everything that I see thus far. So I'll say that. I'm not
Yeah,
totally
but
against it.
you're a real diehard Dragon Ball person.
You know what? It's not even that. It's because the media and the content that I consume usually has the same reaction from people who watch it and people who are actually supposed to love it. And I'm talking about wrestling and like reality TV in some instances. Usually everyone will complain and bitch about this certain match that's about to happen or this certain thing that's about to happen, and then when it actually happens, it's not as bad as people think. And that's usually the case, to be honest with you. People complain about this Drake single and all this other stuff like that. And then the album isn't as bad as people think, even though people are complaining about the album. I think in the long run, people would be like, oh, it wasn't that bad. Like, in
Is
retrospect.
Drake the Dragon Ball of rap?
No. I would say
Is he? I
Drake.
mean,
Drake is. What is
what is
you
Drake's
mean like from
anime
an anime's
equivalent?
anime equivalent? I would say, all right, consistently good, kind of notable, but not
He's
totally.
MHA.
Nah, because
He
he's not as
it's
hated. He's not as widely
he's
hated.
definitely as hated. People do not
No,
like Drake,
I feel
but they
like
secretly like him. And that's why I feel about a lot of my hero haters is that they hate it online, or they may hate it when they talk to their friends, but secretly they really do enjoy what they're watching because they tune in every week. They tune in every chapter.
I don't think they tune in as much. I think legitimately, I think people find things to complain about because it's still there's. We'll talk about MHA at some point during this because there's definitely some news in the latest things that have happened on in the manga and stuff like that. But we'll and also I would love to have a bigger conversation about MHA hate sometime in the future. Like there's a I need to talk to an MHA hater and see why and see if their opinions are actually valid because I'm ready to slice them up. To be honest with you, because I think it's going to go down
You're
as one of
not
the
trying to
better
see it.
ones.
You just want to cook somebody.
Maybe,
You just
yeah.
want to put somebody in the blender. You don't want to hear what they gotta say.
I mean, I would love to hear what they say. I don't think like I talked about this with Justin a couple weeks ago, and he said he also agrees with me and says that he doesn't think a lot of the MHA hate is valid. It may not be for you, but I don't think that the series is bad because it's not for you. Um, but a lot of times people are put into situations like, "What's the most overrated thing that you've seen?" And I think that's the first thing people blurt out because it's popular. But again, I want to have that
But no,
conversation.
I mean that yeah, because I mean that goes for a lot of things. There's always a certain point in anime where the fans turn on it. It's just a weird thing that anime fans do, and I really don't feel any other fan of any other type of like medium like does
No,
that.
I think they do. I think if you live if it exists long enough, at some point there comes some change that fans of it before aren't fully receptive to. The one thing I noticed is a lot of people aren't necessarily receptive to change as much. They usually are very like defiant. There's some resistance towards it. Again, um, if something comes up, what's a good thing of kind of like change that people are not fond of? I mean, there's a lot of things with like people's music and like their direction and kind of a lot of things that people kind of like turn their back on, and um it takes some acclimating to. I think that's just normal human nature of like when something becomes different and unfamiliar. I said this, you know what, I said this in the and again, this is going to require another long conversation towards the thing. I was in the one of the DreamCon spaces back a number of weeks ago. Um
God, yeah,
because
you know how long it's been since we potted. I forgot about all that
yeah,
DreamCon
yeah, yeah.
shenanigans.
We'll talk about it because I think honestly they've patched it up. DreamCon had their own spaces where they said this is going to be the rules and this is how you're going to do things and that's going to be that. Um,
As they
but
should.
they did something. I think they started charging people to host panels now, and people weren't with it. And I'm just like, people were saying that, oh, if you need to change prices on things, you need to tell people, like that's not good business. And basically people were telling them how to run their own business, or like give them suggestions of like, I own this cookie shop, and when I had to change ingredients, I let the customers know that these would be costing more, so that would be costing more. And I'm like, that's great for you, but you never have had to make something for as widely consumed as DreamCon. And to be honest with you, um, they handle a lot of business that doesn't require you. And if they need to make some changes to their things, I think they can make the changes. But again, people weren't receptive to the changes. Even all these cons, to be honest with you, they all raised their prices, and people are like, "What the
It's
fuck?" Like,
it sounds so entitled, and that's just like the thing about it that makes me mad is because it's like you're not going to, if Comic-Con released a press thing today saying the same shit or anything, like you're not complaining about Comic-Con, you're not complaining about any of these other larger white
no,
um
I said
like
like if
things.
Drake sold tickets, more importantly, Beyonce, who one of the highest grossing tours of all time, her tickets are higher. And the idea is, be ready, you don't have to get ready. So people willingly save all of their money, thousands and thousands of dollars, to prepare for when Beyonce is going to tour. And when she puts the prices on sale, there is no discussion of like, these are too high. It's like, you can either go see Beyonce or you're not going to go see Beyonce.
And that's
um
just how it is. And that's how we should, that is legit the response should be for any of that. Cool, you raise the price, but I'm either gonna go and because I got it, or I don't got it and I'm not gonna go. And like
right.
that should just be the say all end all of it. It's just like, once again, it's crazy that something that's getting put on by young black content creators and stuff like that is getting met with this type of reception. Like you said, you're not doing that for anybody fucking else. It doesn't matter. In the
It's
end of the day,
because,
too. In the
okay,
day, too, half you motherfuckers that are complaining, you're either still gonna buy a ticket or you're gonna be hating from the sideline.
they still gonna go.
That's what I'm saying. They still gonna go.
But the so back to the, because that's a conversation that we'll have again. um the back to the bigger point once again, change makes people uncomfortable. People don't like change, um and they respond accordingly, and that's kind of it. But I do think that I want to see more of what happens with this Dragon Ball thing. I think a lot of people can be rightfully turned off by it. The premise may be like, I don't really know, this seems kind of whack, like, and fairly so. I call a lot of things whack. The new Pokemon gimmicks are whack to me. Um, but if you're a fan, tune in. If you're not a fan, you don't. Um, Wait a minute. I did not know Doctor Stone was getting same day dubs. Look at that.
They gotta give y'all something.
I'm fine with that. The dub is amazing. But speaking of new anime, um there is one that is kind of like ahead of the pack, and probably the most anticipated week to week, and that is Jujutsu Kaisens, who's currently airing the Shibuya incident arc. It's currently going now. We're a number of episodes in. Have you been watching it? Have you been keeping up? Early
Yeah.
thoughts, if you have been.
To be honest, this is like one of the only animes I've been watching lately, just because of how my time has been.
Sure.
Um, no, I think first of all, it's really great to kind of go back and review the Shibuya arc. It's definitely been a while since I've touched it. Hold on.
Nice.
uh, but no, I mean Shibuya arc is definitely looking like in the experience is everything that I anticipated. It's great. It's amazing. Shout out to everyone who finally get to see Gojo get locked up.
It's been this long, like, secret for a long time. It's like,
I
oh,
know,
wait till
right?
you
Like
get
everybody been
there.
over here talking about free Gojo when Gojo get locked up. It's just they just lost in the sauce, and now they finally got to experience it. Um, Women really love JJK. That is my big analysis of this.
Yeah.
They have a strong women fan base. Um, but nah, man. Shibuya arc obviously it just looks amazing right now.
It's very it's nice. It's good. I think this is still, in my opinion, peak JJK. This is as good as gonna get. The momentum of it's gonna good. We're still currently riding the upward momentum thing, but I would say we're past the threshold of like the best part of the series. Like we're currently in the best part of the series, and the best part of the series will probably like end season three. Um, like a couple episodes into season three. Um, maybe like halfway into season three, but
Yeah.
it's great. I think JJK is one of those, despite it. And I talk to Justin about this sometimes, and we talk about it because JJK is, while as great as it is and what moments it has, it's also flawed in its storytelling and
Oh
power
man,
scaling.
listen. Right now in the manga, it's some of the most confusing shit.
We'll talk about it.
At this time, I'm just no joke. I'm just vibing in the manga. I'm just like, oh, they're fighting. I'm not even reading. I'm not reading the words. I'm not reading explanations. I'm just
it
like, I'm just like, boom, explosion. Like I am literally reading this like a toddler.
it's
Where like,
flawed, and I think if you're really into it, you get it. But if you're not, it's and I, to be honest with you, even sometimes I think even if you are into it, you still have to like go the distance to kind of get it, because Gege kind of does what he does with on a whim and explains it all after the fact sometimes. But um it's I think this season again, the anime studios are really the true MVPs of all these things, because when they adapt these anime, um it just takes it to a new level. And I think that's what's been happening with the Shibuya incident. I could probably say, I mean, what's your favorite episode been thus far?
of this season or so far of
Just
the
Shibuya. We're past the past Gojo arc. We reviewed that. We're done with that.
okay, because I was gonna say it's definitely it was episode 5. Um, God, what is my favorite episode so far?
You've had, to kind of like recap it. We had I was about to say Gigantomachia. We've had Mekamaru um versus Maito. We've had Gojo steps into the, Shibuya train station and the entire ordeals with
What's the
that.
episode where he's walking on the people like Cisco? That's it.
That-
That's the one.
that's the episode where he gets locked up, I think. Or right,
Yeah,
no, that's the episode before he gets locked up. But
yeah, it's that one.
I'm a big fan of
It's either that one
actually,
or the episode where he gets locked up. I think it's because that's when things really take a turn. Like it's like your
I
best
will
fighter gets locked up. It's like
right.
that's like when you're in gym and y'all play capture the flag and like the fastest kid on your team gets captured. You're not just sitting there like, oh shit, all goal is to get him out.
Right. The best dodgeball player on your team gets captured, and it's just you there, and you're just like, "Fuck, I did not, I didn't sign up for this at all to be able to throw or get hit." Triggered. But
Trigger. Did y'all play dodgeball with the rubber balls?
of course,
Okay, I didn't know.
yeah,
I didn't know if you were. I was a part of like my school years where for the
plushie.
beginning part we had the rubber ones, and then at some point there was a turning point where we had the softer ones.
Yeah. When I got to high school, we started getting the softer ones. In junior high school, it was the red rubber ones that make the noise when they hit you, and also hurt when they hit you. But in high school, we transitioned to the other ones, which I couldn't throw as well. Um, and in fact, I never got a person out with those balls. And the one time I actually did hit the best player on another team, they looked and they were like, "You stepped over the line," and I was like, "No, you can't take this from me, please." And it was like, "You stepped over the line," and I was like, "You know what? I'm not playing anymore." and I never did. Um, let's see. But the Shibuya incident, pretty good. Uh, Everything is kind of like moving in a very good direction. The best is literally yet to come. We just saw an episode where the Toji coming back in this episode was fucking fire. By the way,
Yeah, that was another really good one.
he was like, "Oh, I have this curse ability that can take over whatever corpse's body, and it's my soul, but I control the body." And then he was like, "I don't play it. I'm too strong for that. Like, you could never use my body as some sort of template." And now Toji's just seemingly alive again. So, um, I like to see how that things. My favorite part has been watching Yuji and Megumi kind of figure a battle out together. I think that's something we haven't seen in a while. Um, and yeah, I mean, we know how this works out, so we're anticipating kind of like how everything kind of continues to show out. I think up next week is Yuji versus Choso, um, which should be interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's see. What else do we got here? You haven't been watching anything else, right?
Not really. Have you been? What else have you been watching?
I've been trying to finish up this arc in One Piece. I'm
Oh
10% through
man,
One
seeing
Piece.
the face turn on One Piece is so
There's no
crazy.
face. There's no face turn on One
It's a
Piece.
face turn, bro. Seeing everybody turn face on fucking One Piece is amazing. Shout out to
I
AD.
so my I don't currently have a face turn on One Piece. There are episodes that I began that I said I will get back to, and I'm currently getting back to right now. But the reality is, the series is no better for me than when it actually started, and I don't feel any more invested. I would think, actually, since we've been gone, they've come out with the Netflix series. So, what was your thoughts on that?
Um, it was good.
I liked it. I liked
It
it a
was
lot.
good. It was
It was
solid. I'll give
it
it like
was
a 7 out of 10.
it was the literally that's the best score you can give any live action adaptation of an anime that's ever existed, because they're all usually terrible, plotting different weird things. But this one was really really good. um
It was definitely much darker than I thought it was gonna be.
why
Um,
you say that?
in terms of kind of like tone and what I like, I like feel it's like a little bit more gritty.
Hmm.
Um, there's yeah, but I think like overall, man, they did a good job. Like you said, I think it's as solid as live action anime adaptation could have, like, up to date. Like
Right.
it's the most solid. I do feel that one day we're gonna get a 10 out of 10 live action um adaptation of an anime. But
Well, they're getting a season 2, so that's always nice. It's further than I thought they would
well,
get, to be
according
honest with you.
according to them and everybody else in AD, they're gonna be going 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 seasons.
I don't know about that, but um it's looking good for them thus far. I guess the response has been well enough. People have supported. That's kind of like what really matters in the end. If you're wondering what arc I'm in, I'm currently finishing up the Arabasta arc. Um,
That's a good one.
it's good. It's good. They just beat up all the people with the letters. Let's see. Uh, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And he beat up Crocodile, so Crocodile is gone. And
Nice.
that's the end of that. But I've been in this arc for like 2 years, so there's no I mean, I've been cruising through this, but there's no rush to figure this thing out.
Yeah, no, One Piece is. Uh, it's one of those things where you're either like you either get invested or you don't.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I'm gonna. I don't know. I think I'm cool on it. It's not my favorite thing. It's not the worst thing. It's clearly not the worst thing, but I'm not. I haven't got to the part where I'm like, oh, I'm
You haven't
hooked
got
yet.
to the part where the art's good.
Oh, I like. You know what? The best thing about it is that's why I feel like it's art. I feel like it's such a unique art style and a take on human bodies that's more geared towards like how they make um when they make modeling things, like especially all how the women are drawn in the series, how kind of the men who are taller drawn in series are drawn a lot more brawn and stuff like that. The women are a lot more slender, unique, model-esque. I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting take, and the body movement and the choreography. I was like, oh, this is that to me is the best part of it thus far. But the actual story part, I haven't fallen in love yet. But I have friends and people who I love dearly who are into One Piece, so I'm not shitting on it for their own thing. Um, Also, a little bit of news. It's coming up November 4th, AOT. It's ending. We'll
Fucking
finally be able
finally.
to, yeah, we'll finally be able to kind of like talk about it, the ending, and kind of like how we feel about it, and wonder if the animated version of it changes the way you feel about the ending from Big Eyes a number of years ago. Because anime adaptations have the power to do that. I don't know if you know that.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. They add music and uh, context and all types of other shit to it.
I'm
And it's gonna
supposedly
be
we're supposed to
90
be getting an
minutes
extra
long.
chapter too.
Well, oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Huh.
Yeah. So you're eating right now.
Listen, I'm here. It's all good in the hood with me. Um, let's see. Let's get into. Hmm. There's a little bit of manga talk I want to get into, but I want to see. Oh, I've been watching Zom 100. Um, Bucket List of the Dead. It's been pretty good thus far, but it stopped for random reasons. Um,
It's been like that all season though.
I've never I this is my first time paying attention to it.
Yeah, it's
So
legit been like every episode I'm pretty sure has gotten delayed by at least one day.
that's crazy. Pick it up. What are we doing here? People are losing money. Um so I've been watching that as well. What else? Spy Family's back. Watching that, of course. Dr. Stone's back. I'm gonna watch that right after we finish this up. Um did you watch Undead Unluck?
I have not watched Undead Unluck yet. Have you?
Wow.
No, I
I
watched the
watched
first episode. I'm
I
not.
watched the first episode. That's it. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was cool.
it looks good,
Yeah, it looks great. The animation is amazing.
man. We're
Um,
really waiting on for Sakamoto days.
this is what we really are waiting for. That is where we really,
That's when real
um,
hip hop comes back.
because Kaiju number 8 got theirs. They got a big thing at actually New York City Comic Con, which is like another reason why they should have invited us. But whatever. Um, it is what it is. But let's see.
Nah, they're haters. It's okay.
They really are. Let's talk about a couple things manga wise. So if you are not caught up with the manga for anything, I think your story ends here. And thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you next week. But for those who want to stick around, I want to talk something about I want to talk about death in manga and anime. That's what I really want to talk about. There have been there's always at least one major death in a manga or an anime that's a huge turning point in the series. Um, but I think because it's anga, anime slash manga, we usually have to question like, is this death or it depends on the style of it. But if they kill someone in Blue Box, they're dead for sure. I'd be like, yo, what kind of sports related accident was this? Um,
That's don't scare me, man. Because I feel
right?
they really will kill somebody off in Blue
In
Box just
Blue
to
Box
spice the
for
story.
what? Someone gets hit by a car, some shit like
Yes,
that.
there's definitely some car accident potential there.
I doubt it. That would be
I
sick.
don't think it happens. Maybe
Oh,
maybe a car accident with a fatal injury, but I don't think no one dies. I'm not putting it against them though.
oh,
No one's safe.
speaking of death, how do you feel about Kakura Bachi? New manga series. Dude with a sword. Says all the right things. The perfect action hero. It actually went viral because of the first chapter. Because it's been already. It was memed to death of like it's the greatest manga of all time. I can't believe a manga with one chapter already got an anime adaptation. I can't believe it already got a video game. I can't believe everything. Like
Nah, it was the 90% of the memes were really funny.
yeah, they're really good. Kagura Bachi.
It's good. I like it. You know me, man. As soon as I start hinting at seeing people going too crazy for something, I gotta rain on their parade just a little bit. But no, overall, it's been really good, man. I don't know, action series just really work well on SJ.
They're really good. I mean, this
Like
is we talk you
it
guys for
gives
a
you
long
everything
time.
that you want. Some good art style, demon slaying or sorcery. You got a cool Lone Ranger main character that says these crazy one liners.
It's got it all. It's
You
literally
know,
got it all.
like kind of got
So
some weird hair, like a weird identifying mark with the scar.
it was a great first chapter, and it's been great ever since. So I'll give it that. You were talking about you and 80 talked for a long time, like what's going to carry Shonen Jump into the next thing. Whoops, what's going to carry Shonen Jump into the next kind of like into its next era once all the big anime end in like a year or so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this may do it. You know, it's been that well received. It just needs kind of like another major pivotal battle or moment. But death.
Death.
So
Two
most
big
recent
deaths. Death and the
death
revivals.
death revival. I'm gonna say death and revival because the big death in My Hero came a long time ago. The revival is here. Um, but I'm also not sure of the death in JJK if it's real or not. So we're also here with that. Um, biggest moment in JJK happened a couple of weeks ago in the manga. The death of Gojo. He lived, he battled. The battle had to be at least 10, 12 chapters of back and forth, domain expansions, people's brains bleeding out their eyes, uh, you
Reverse
know,
techniques, healing.
reverse yeah. Maharaga's cousin, the homies, everybody having an opinion on it. And then it looks all about one for Gojo, and then Gojo dies. He's actually the loser in all of this, and I'd be hard pressed to see if you were a JJK fan. Be hard pressed to see how you could avoid such spoilers, but maybe you did. Um, what are your kind of like thoughts on this,
Um,
on how it was done? Maybe.
there's a couple ways I feel about it. Am I mad that Gojo died? No. I think him dying was like it happened, and the fact that he died to what is considered the strongest curse ever, cool. Um do I feel that he's really dead? No. I do not feel that he's really dead. And I feel that some shit is gonna happen at the last minute and he's gonna come and save the day.
Mm.
Uh
The upper
overall.
half of his body or the lower half of his body? Which part is going to come save the day?
Shoot, it's gonna be
Mm.
he's gonna fuck around and accidentally fuse his body upside down or something like that. It's gonna be
Do you think Yuji eats him and hopefully gains his powers and becomes
that's
Yuji
also a
Gojo?
potential. Um I feel someone definitely is gonna sacrifice their life to bring him back or some shit.
Hmm.
Uh
That's an anime trope.
yeah, it really is. Looking at the angel, wink wink.
Hmm.
Um no, I don't know. Like it kind of came out of nowhere. It was a kind of a bit of a yeah, it came out of nowhere. I wasn't really expecting it. yet. I think though how it was presented was pretty cool. The slash and all that stuff. Um Sakuna just constantly like JJK has now become it's become a who has a limitless like well of power, and how can we just continue to make these people stronger and stronger and stronger.
It is like the anime definition of can they beat Goku? It
Yes, it
is.
really is. Like it's and I was trying to find a way to word it. You just worded it perfectly for me. It has definitely become power level wise. How can we make even random side characters potentially stronger than Goku?
Yeah, it's a lot of like, can you beat this character? That's really what this is. Are you stronger than this character? It takes the anime conversation of are can you beat this character? Which ironically we did. We recorded that like a couple weeks ago, and it will be out soon. But can you beat this character? And it's that conversation, but in thing, and now it's like really, this is the Cell games if it was happened how it was supposed to fucking happen. Um, but Gojo's death to me brought up an interesting point. To me, I hate having to kill a character just so. I hate the argument of you had to kill this character for the plot to move on. Then I'd be like, how? Then this character was not important to the plot at all. Um, or was
Also, too,
because that's how
it's like
most
why does
JJK
why
fans.
does essentially it's like they killed him so other characters can get a chance, and it's like why are you even putting yourself in this position where
Yeah, you kind of
other
like wrote your.
characters, and especially the main character, is just sitting on the sideline watching this other character fight and like handle
Yeah,
the big boss.
yeah, because I feel like honestly, I also feel like for JJK sometimes, like the main character Yuji, I feel like he literally been sitting on the sidelines for like 3 years in the manga. To be honest with you, like and I feel like a large part of the story, even though I still ask like how does this end and where does this end and how does it end with Yuji kind of like in this thing, but I feel like he's been a large part of like on the sidelines of the things, even in terms of his development as a character. I think he's developed in strength, but I don't think he's developed where he's had these moments where it's been vulnerable. He's had to like kind of like meet we haven't had that in a long time for Yuji because we were continuing to establish these they're continuing to put chess pieces in place so it can lead to this giant thing that hasn't happened yet, but then also we're wasting a lot of time doing other things instead of like progressing the actual story. So instead of the 10 to 12 chapters they could have done, where Gojo is facing Sukuna, there could have been something a lot more constructive to build up Yuji in this moment. How did we get there? You know what I'm saying? Yuji had this big fight with Sukuna before the thing. Then they literally skipped 2 months in one chapter. It's like, all right, ready to battle? And it's like, okay, we're supposed to figure this out all after the fact. I think, again, a lot of holes with sort of the JJK kind of like writing and stuff like that. And I hate I loathe the argument of we had to kill this guy because it doesn't make sense. I'm like that you're not utilizing characters in a great way.
Yeah, and that's really it. It's, I mean, especially too because a lot of the characters that you have sitting on the sideline are more fan favorites than you think. And it's kind of just like, why are all these other characters just kind of sitting here? Like, I want to see my favorite character in action doing something. And also, too, it's like there's other things that they could be doing. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, Gege kind of wrote himself into a corner, and
Right.
he's trying to like write himself out of it.
Because
And I think
I,
that's been kind of a thing. I mean, overall, I think in JJK, especially post Shibuya, he has done that. Yeah.
and it I mean, putting that side to side, I mean, this chapter comes out the same time as the My Hero chapters, and I know we're always putting them side to side, and I think we need to do a big JJK versus MHA episode at some point. Um, but
And although, man, listen, I would love to, but I feel that those, I mean, can you feel that they're fair comparisons?
I don't think I think they're I think it's comparison only of like in the moment things, but no, they're not the same show at fucking all. Like
Yeah,
they're not
you
even
know, and so it's
they're not
hard to
even.
compare them when it's like I feel that even their world building, their diet, like all these things are so different from one another.
But I
Even
also
just
feel
that
like, but
the
I
absolute
feel
tone over both are completely different.
I've said this since like culling games of like I think culling games was going on the same time the beginning of this kind of like war arc was going on, and I said there's a stark difference in how Gege builds his characters and how Horikoshi builds his characters and the moments surrounding them and the attention that he gives to them. Horikoshi was warping between different characters, getting these big moments, and you do see Todoroki getting his moment. You do see Uraraka getting her moment. You even see Aoyama getting his moment. And with the culling games, it was such this like ordered structure kind of thing. Like we had like 5 chapters of Yuji, and then you wouldn't see Yuji again for like another 25 chapters because Yuta had to get his, and Maki had to get his, and like everyone had to get his or get theirs. Um, and even down to the point, it was so interesting the week that the Gojo thing came out because it was the week that All Might was facing All for One, and All Might looked like he was going to die several times. And it's so interesting that this guy who has no quirk has yet to be killed in this battle. Um, he's actually been the hardest to kill thus far. It looks like uh, because of things, but again, it circles around to the story of like what are actually heroes, and like you don't need powers to save people. The most OP guy in this series suddenly has no powers, but he's still a major contribution to it because he learned from his own students that you don't really need powers to save people. What is an actual hero? He changed the definition of what is a hero to him. And then now we're again circling around to another plot. Bakugo is back, right? Let's talk about Bakugo, who is dead, heart
I think
exploding.
his revival wasn't even. I think his revival was pretty cool.
Nah, it's been done well. Like
It was
that's
done well. I mean, obviously because too, like he died, but we also knew that what you call it. Uh,
we had very strong feelings when he died.
I had
Well,
very strong feelings that he died
all
because I
right.
knew
Well,
he
yeah.
was gonna come back alive, and I knew it was gonna be like, man, this is bullshit. But they had to kill my nigga, and he had to be the sacrificial lamb. But what the is it? Not who is it that sacrificed their body to save him?
I think it was Strider. No,
Was it
not Strider.
Strider? I couldn't remember his name. I just couldn't
It's
remember
not
his power.
Strider. Strider is the guy who he reminds me of. It
His,
was
I keep wanting to say Nightshade for some reason, but it's not it.
nah, but I feel like we're getting close. He reminds me of Strider from Marvel vs. Capcom, but hero who saved Bakugo, who sacrificed. Wow, Google really. I need to stop talking to this computer. Um, himself for Bakugo. His name Edshot. There you go.
Headshot. There we go. So we knew, but like we knew Headshot was gonna sacrifice his life to make sure that Bakugo lived. Um, but
But it also plays in the story point of like maybe again I'm a my hero thing, and
no,
I
but
feel
you
like
are, and like I'll say this, I even through your fandom, I appreciate your analysis because you're able to kind of break down kind of like the deeper plot points of just like once again, what is a hero? A hero isn't a person that's always saving the day or saving the beating the big bad villain. Sometimes a hero is I'm gonna sacrifice my life so this little kid who has a future ahead of him can live.
the hero society that we fucked up. The least we can do is continue it for the future to kind of like continue to corral, and that's kind of what Edshot did. And we don't really see kind of like we haven't really seen yet the kind of like the result of what Edshot's new what he's done with Bakugo and kind of like what that's going to result in. But we do know that Bakugo is kind of like OP in this instance. Um, and he was actually becoming OP before he died. Like he was the only one to land like a solid shot on Shigaraki. But again, it's wrapping up the story, the Bakugo's arc, right? Bakugo feels like the only reason why All Might is the way he is now is because of him. And now he has the opportunity to right that wrong. He is getting his Vegeta, you know, I don't want to say explosion thing because to be honest with you, apparently it amounted to nothing. But Vegeta coming back on Namek during the Moro arc and saving Namekians after spending and making it his duty to stop Moro on Namek because he was the one. It's the least he can do. And I feel like Bakugo's having this moment as well where he's like, listen, um, I was the one. All Might's in this position for because of me, and I'm gonna save All Might, and now I'm gonna, essentially become All Might kind of vibe. And I think this has been well done. Again, bringing characters back from death to me isn't always the best course of action. Um, but I feel like if there's a reason enough to do it, we watched Dragon Ball as a kid of where death really meant nothing because the Dragon Balls were there. You can always wish someone back from death. But when there's an actual meaning, similar to AOT, where they had to choose between Irwin and um, what's my man's name? Armin. And they brought Armin back because he was like, listen, why did they bring Armin back?
You talking about when it was between him and the general?
Yeah, it's between him and Irwin.
Oh yeah. Remember, Irwin was like, "Nigga, give it to him."
You sure? No, or
I
both of
swear, when
them.
did he do that? Was like his final breath was like, "Hey,
Was he? Did he?
yeah." Remember, he looked
Okay.
Levi. He like looked Levi in the eyes. He didn't. I don't think he really said something, but he looked Levi in the eyes. Like, nah, like say that little nigga. Because remember, it was a whole big thing. Levi, in like even after like Levi wasn't fucking with
Armin.
Levi wasn't fucking with
Aaron?
Aaron
Armin?
after that shit like that.
Right. Right.
Levi was like, nah, that ain't my man's like that, but he's my man's.
But there's got to be a bigger reason and bigger purpose for whatever they think. And
Yeah,
I think bringing back Gojo in this instance to go through this situation, to have this massive battle, everyone gets their rocks off because of this battle. Um, which is great. It's the best thing that JJK does. JJK makes these great big battle moments. Like that's their bread
that's
and
their bread
butter.
and butter.
Right. However, I think a lot of times the story isn't all the way thought through. And the Gojo death thing to me, still, I'm not totally okay with it because of the reasoning of it or the seeming reason of it. And then I'm just not okay with it because I felt like it was a cop out. Like I felt like it was legit. You built up to Gojo doing these things, and then I feel like it felt like on a whim he was like, "But what if Gojo's the one who dies?" I was like, "Huh? What did we do this entire thing?" And then it's like, "No, because he actually gains Maharaga's ability to do this and this, that, and the third." And you got to kind of like explain it. I was like, "There's no bigger purpose to this shit."
Yeah.
And
I
he's
mean, it
probably
goes
gonna
back to your point of like, I don't like characters dying for the sake of nigga. I have nothing else to do with it. Like, I'm at a dead point of this story and I need to push it forward. So let me just kill somebody so the story can move forward. Is whack.
They did it at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z with Goku, and actually they've done it multiple times with Goku. And it kind of like retrospect now, like yeah, it's also I look at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z as like, did you have to kill Goku for everyone else to honestly everyone else to die because that's what happened. um, but death in anime has to have meaning, has to have purpose, has to have some sort of grander scheme into things, and can't just be because a character is throttling the storyline. Then you wrote a bad character, or you didn't write, or you didn't flesh out this character's moments enough. Um, I look forward to hearing what people say and their retort towards this if they have any. Um, because I know, yeah, JJK
Yeah, it's just
is
I think that is um the big difference right now dealing with the two big deaths and the two biggest manga on Shonen Jump right now is like I do feel that although I was initially very upset with the Bakugo death, I think in the long run it played a more role in the story. It felt more connected to the story than a reason to make the story go forward. He died for a bigger purpose. I think Gojo kind of just died because once again, JJK's whole premise is, can I beat this person? And the answer at the time was no, you cannot beat this person. Let's move on to the next. And that's what it was like, really what it felt like.
Right.
It didn't feel like some deeper emotional or like, you know what I'm saying, deeper message to it other than he was weaker than him at this moment, or he just got caught with a lucky shot and, you know, Sukuna pulled out his big trump card for the 5th time. I don't know how many trump
Right.
cards he and Gojo had. You know, and that's just what it felt like. And then also too, it's not even that. It's like it didn't even feel like Gege was trying to mask it. Like that's what he meant by this. Like it had no deeper anything to it.
It all wrapped up in one chapter, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. But hey, JJK, I'm still interested to see how it ends, but
I
you know,
definitely feel that in terms of two mangas are clearly in their last leg.
and I think that's why we're comparing it,
It
because
makes,
it's
yeah, and that's why too. I mean, once again, your 2 top stars are going out and they're on their final arc. Like you're definitely going to tune into each one differently. But I do feel that right now, overall, MHA's closing is much better than JJK's right now.
I agree. And we'll talk about One Piece's closing at some point in the future as well.
Man, yeah, the One Piece. That's another 5-6 years.
Well, first of all, thank you guys for tuning in. Of course, it's great to be back and talking anime. Um,
Definitely.
we're hoping to find some friends to talk anime with. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the lookout. If you want to
And if you
follow,
have some friends that want to come, send them our way.
yeah, friends, our friends, your friends, become friends, and some be friends. I forgot how the lyric goes. We could see each other every weekend. If you want to follow LJ, follow him at LJ on, Twitter, Instagram. Hit him up about the episode if you enjoyed it. You want to follow me? It's at Meelz TV on Twitter, Meelz on Instagram. Hit me up if you love the episode. And just follow the Lookout RNC on Twitter and everywhere else. Just like follow, support. It's been a great number of weeks we have off. Feel refreshed. Look forward to doing this again and again and again, and kind of like having these fun discussions one more time. And yeah, man, don't meet us there, beat us there. This has been The Lookout. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.